installations.
Because there have been so many theories that we have seen why we are having power outages. I want to explain to the nation why, but I also want to give a promise when this is going to stop. And lastly, to request for your patience, your cooperation, and your understanding, because this is for the good of the nation. Whatever we're experiencing today, the challenge in power, is resulting from actually a good work. It's resulting from work that we are doing to make sure that we stabilize power and also meet the demand.
The ministry says these investments are already improving network performance through more reliable power supply for industrial consumers, reduced system losses, and quicker response to faults. Additional electricity meters and essential materials have also been secured to speed up new customer connections and service restoration.
As we all know, especially our city has grown really, really fast, and our population has increased fast. So this has put a stretch on the electricity demand and on the infrastructure. This growth is reflected in our industrial activity. We have many more industrial work, industrial activities, many more businesses that require heavier electricity, and many more households that need and demand connections. Government has put up many institutions, private sector has put up many institutions, and so this has raised the demand on the infrastructure that we have.
Consumers have been urged to report faults through official UEDCL customer care channels and warned against making payments to individuals claiming to facilitate electricity connections or meter installations.
To date, UEDCL, which is our distribution company, serves up to 2.7 million customers, and I can tell you we hadn't planned for that number. While the overall electricity access continues to grow across the nation, right now we are at 62%. 62% of the households are accessing power, and it is really, really our desire that we grow that rapidly. And since January this year, we have been able to connect 76,000 customers. Despite the massive complaints that you are raising about connection, we've connected 76,000.
The minister also thanked Ugandans for their patience and continued support as government implements long-term investments to strengthen the country's electricity network. According to the Ministry of Energy, the ongoing upgrades are laying the foundation for a stronger, more reliable electricity network that will expand access to power, support industrialization, and drive Uganda's long-term economic development.
Now, the Electoral Commission has described the recently concluded LC1 village elections as a success, saying the overwhelming voter turnout reflects Ugandans' commitment to choosing their leaders. While voting was successfully conducted in most villages across the country, the Commission has announced fresh registration and repeat polls in areas affected by violence or tampered voter registers. We'll take a look.
The chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Justice Simon Byabakama, has praised Ugandans for actively participating in the LC1 village elections, saying the exercise demonstrated that citizens understand the importance of democratic leadership. Justice Byabakama said the majority of registered voters across the country turned up to cast their ballots, with polling successfully conducted in more than 70,000 villages. However, he acknowledged that a few areas experienced violence and other disruptions that affected the voting process.
Participating in these processes and making them a success. Across the country, polling was conducted as scheduled. and preliminary reports indicate that in the majority of villages, the registered residents turned out in large numbers to elect their village council chairpersons. The process was generally peaceful, orderly, and transparent. It was well attended by eligible village residents. The preliminary field reports indicate that polling was successfully conducted in about 70,079 villages out of 71,214 villages, which represented 98.4% success rate. There were, however, a number of villages, about 1,135 so far, where polling could not take place or be completed due to various factors, such as disruption and interference by some individuals and groups, chaos and violence, destruction of polling materials, particularly the village registers. Results were the candidates tied, disputes about the voters' registers, or death of nominated candidates, among others. In some villages, persons whose names did not appear in the village residence register presented their national IDs and demanded to be allowed to vote. In accordance with the applicable electoral laws, however, only persons whose names appeared in the village residence register were eligible to vote. As a result, those who were turned away, in some instances, caused a disruption of the electoral process, leading to calling off of the elections in some areas. Where circumstances permitted and the integrity of the polling materials were intact, the affected village council members agreed, together with our officials, to schedule polling today. And indeed today, Wednesday, 29th July, some polling has taken place in some few villages in the country, while others are awaiting the decision or a resolution of the commission on the way forward. As we talk now, we have received quite a number of petitions, and people are anxiously awaiting to know the fate of the elections in their villages.
He explained that elections in areas where voting failed but where election materials and voter registers were not tampered with have been rescheduled for today. In villages where polling did not take place because of violence but the voter registers remained intact, elections will instead be held on 1st August. The Electoral Commission has also received numerous petitions from across the country regarding the conduct of the elections. As a result, the Commission has ordered fresh voter registration in villages where the registers were tampered with beginning tomorrow. The updated registers will be displayed on 31st July ahead of voting on 1st August.
Polling can be repeated. And we have already communicated to the said villages or areas that Saturday, 30th July, which is tomorrow, the process of registering residents will take place. And the display of the registers will be conducted on the 31st of July, so that polling takes place on Saturday, the 1st of August 2026. Secondly, in villages where polling could not take place due to chaos, the way forward, the Commission would like to send out a strong warning to all those individuals who may be planning to cause violence and chaos to disrupt these repeat and residual elections. They stand warned, and the red arm of the law will be firmly applied against them.
Now moving on, officials from the National Social Security Fund appeared before Parliament's COSASA committee to address growing concerns over stalled development projects. Lawmakers raised sharp criticism regarding ongoing administrative and land use hurdles surrounding the Temalongo Affordable Housing Initiative, as well as prolonged completion delays on the Pension Towers project, renewing broader questions about the fund's investment strategy and management capabilities. We take a look. Following an audit report that highlighted persistent execution setbacks, officials from the fund appeared before Parliament's Committee on Commissioned Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises today. Lawmakers grilled NSSF executives over the progress of the mixed-use development, raising serious questions regarding the fund's investment decisions, audit compliance, and overall project management.
In about 2008 or thereby, there was an MOU where Mr. Nzei was supposed actually to compensate NSSF with another piece of land, about 104 acres plus. It's now 18 years, and this whole process has been stalled. So we are wondering, is there hope that Ugandans will get that land? Is there hope that that business meant to be invested there will take shape?
Appearing before Parliament's Committee on Commissioned Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises COSASA, NSSF officials were pressed to explain ongoing setbacks regarding the 463.87-acre Temangalo estate. Purchased in 2008 from businessman Amos Nzei, the property remains embroiled in boundary and occupation disagreements between the vendor and the fund.
Basically, we own the title, the entire title, including where Nzei's house is in the name of the fund. After transfers, that's when he wanted to keep the house, but the condition was, which goes to a question that I believe one of the honorable raised, that land in Namungwana is a different piece of land. No, there are three conditions. The land had to be adjacent to our land, it had to be squatter-free, and be suitable for what we wanted to do. Those were the three conditions. And all the swaps he has attempted, none of the pieces he has offered meets all the three criteria. That's why it has taken that long.
Legislatures also raised concerns about the investment in the land, its allocation, and the fact that it is currently in use, questioning whether the Security Fund is aware of this. In response, the security officer confirmed that they were aware. However, the committee chair directed that a further investigation be conducted into the matter.
The person in charge of security at Temangalo goes there twice a year. So I want to instruct you to first visit Temangalo land and give this committee a report on the status, the encroachers, the users, with enabling proof to guide the committee on our next course of action over that land.
Delayed project timelines have repeatedly raised questions, including concerns about the pension towers, which members say has taken an unusually long time to reach completion. With the building still unfinished, legislatures continue to question the reasons behind the prolonged delay. However, it is confirmed that the project would be complete in the following year.
You look at the existing contracts, what has been paid to date is 322 billion.
And when do you hope to finish it?
End of January 2027. It's at 83%.
Which is about 6 months from now.
Now moving on, the local council 1 elections are increasingly attracting national political attention, with influential politicians and aspiring leaders taking an interest in what was once seen as a small village-level contest. Analysts say the growing involvement raises questions about the changing political significance of grassroots leadership ahead of the 2026 general elections.
As local council 1 elections, traditionally viewed as minor village-level contests, are now drawing significant national political interest. Political elites, influential figures, and aspiring members of parliament are increasingly stepping into the arena of these grassroots leadership roles. Basarira says local council one leaders are foundation of leadership and communities in ultimately this entire country, making the elections an important part of Uganda's democratic process.
Remember, when you look at local council, they are the first line of leadership at any locality or any village. That is why when you look at a homestead that has close to 200 to 1,000 people, there is a need for it to have a locality, which is a local council.
Analysts also say the growing involvement of political elites and aspiring politicians is partly driven by 2026 general elections, with some using grassroots polls to establish their political influence ahead of a bigger contest. Others, however, believe that their involvement could also bring attention to privilege politics, with politicians seeking to engage directly with communities and work for the people.
Some of them are setting ground for 2031 general election, and some of them have come to serve. When you look at, I've been listening to Solomon Serwanja, former journalist, who is saying the reason as to why he has come to serve, he has come to empower his village. When we have educated people, or when you have elite people in those positions, we expect that we are going to have a lot of service delivery. We are going to have a lot of quality assurance. We are going to have a lot of hands-on working, rather than a passive kind of thing that we have been looking at. LOC1s play a very good role, a very crucial role, when they're implementing government terms, governmentary programs, PDM, and what have you. So, such positions actually should be reserved, should be qualified. It is a good move. It is good for people who have the knowledge, who know how to administer, who know how the politics of this country runs, to come and have the best line of leadership at local council.
But while big names are increasingly stepping onto the small political stage, the perception that village leadership and passive of the older generation appears persist. A political analyst, Derek Asimwe, says although the youth make up a significant part of Uganda's population, their participation in LC1 elections remains low, both as voters and as candidates.
Just because they believe that these LC1 seats are supposed to be for all the people. However, the narrative has been changed, as we have witnessed. We have seen youthful people taking on these elections, and I've seen many of them win. However, they have won out of first maybe excitement, and I just hope that while they serve the people for the 5 years or the so years, they must learn and ensure.
Elections also have been characterized as concern over increasing monetization and of grassroots politics, and I say the trend is partial reflection of what has become common in national politics, where candidates spend heavily to secure victory. They argue that the same culture is now finding its way into village elections, despite the fact that LSU elections and LSU chairperson are among the least paid politicians.
Everyone has their terrain on how they become leaders. Some of them have seen and have attributed to heavy monetization of politics to enable them into this position. When you look at the leadership that we have today, from president, from to MP level, to LC5, to mayors, and now local councils, there has been an increase of funding.
Monetization of politics has always been here, only that this time around it has escalated to just another level, just like that just like the one we have seen in national elections. However, this time around, it is very disgusting that we are seeing, we are experiencing, we are witnessing the dashing out of monies in the LOC1 elections. It's like fleecing of PDM money, such that these LOC1 contestants can try and regain their inputs. For context, LOC1's chairperson, they get less than 150 in salary for the whole year. So if you see someone investing in all those millions, that means they are up to something which is very fishy and which is very unfortunate.
The voters themselves have seen that even when you vote in someone genuinely, they are not serving the society. That is why they have turned to monetization, that what you give me, is what I give you. It is a bad advice for this country.
The small village stage continues to attract more political names. The LC elections are increasingly become more than just a contest for local leadership. They are now a reflection of Uganda's wider political culture, raising questions about future grassroots democracy, youth participation, and the growing influence of money in elections. For Church of Uganda from LTV, I'm Robert Gubisliza, News at 8.
Thank you, Robert, for that report. And now let us turn to the Archbishop's Moment.
Archbishop's Moment, sponsored by
Uganda Bati, Uganda's most trusted building solutions partner.
And
African Hearts Junior School, where we nurture joyful, helpful, and God-fearing children.
Let us emulate the spirit of unity despite our different tribes and regions.
Katuyigire ku bajulizi nga tukwataganira wamu nga tuli bumu sinsonga tukiririza muki.
Let us promote things that can take our country to another level when we're united instead of fighting each other.
Katusoosowaze ebintu ebyo ebinaayamba eggwanga lyaffe okugenda mu maaso nga tutabagana bumu.
Let us fight tribal hatreds.
Bannange tulwanyise obukyayi bw'obuva mu mawanga ag'enjawulo.
There are some people who may not get some jobs because they say this one will not get the job because he or she belongs to a different tribe.
Waliwo bayinza obaolyawo waliwo bayinza obutafuna mirimu kubanga bava mu ggwanga lya njawulo.
This one belongs to a different region.
Nga bagamba nti ono wa ddiini ndala tumwa mulimu.
This one belongs to a different status.
Nti ono ekitiibwa kye tekijja mu mulimu guno.
May have experience, may have, but the region, the tribe is different, so they miss it.
Ne bw'aba n'obuyigirize n'obumanyirivu n'asuba omulimu olw'eddiini oba eggwanga.
The matters should help us to learn to value everyone's ability.
Naye abajulizi batuyambe okussaamu ekitiibwa obusobozi bwa buli muntu.
The spirit of unity should be built in order to promote the Uganda we need.
Archbishop's Moment, sponsored by
Uganda Bati, Uganda's most trusted building solutions partner.
And
African Hearts Junior School, where we nurture joyful, helpful, and God-fearing children.
Like the saying goes, united we stand, divided we fall. Well, it is important that we all stay united as Ugandan citizens, not forgetting to love one another and being each other's keeper. Well, that's the message for tonight. We are going for a short commercial break, but do stay tuned for more. Welcome back from the break. Now, the State House Investors Protection Unit has urged government institutions to prioritize investors' support by avoiding delays that could discourage potential investors. The call was made by the unit's head, Colonel Edith Nakalema, during a meeting with investors from Agri Global and Life Science, who are exploring opportunity in Uganda's agriculture and related sectors. Our reporter has more.
The State House Investors Protection Unit says timely support from government agencies is key in creating a favorable environment for investors. Speaking at the SHIPU offices on Lumumba Avenue in Nakasero, Colonel Edith Nakalema asked public servants to avoid frustrating investors seeking services from their offices.
State House Investors Protection Unit was established by His Excellency the President to ensure that every wealth creator, everyone adding value to Uganda, is not delayed by anybody in a public office.
Colonel Nakalema said President Yoweri Museveni's directive when establishing the unit was for government officials to ensure investors receive quick assistance because their investments contribute to economic growth.
So for us who work under the instructions of the President and the Commander-in-Chief, and me being the head of unit, but importantly a foot soldier, our work is to ensure that investors that have already added value, like these ones, Dr. Mahesh here and Mr. Christian, with their colleague Mr. Anin, they have already invested over $5 million in agri-business science. So Avin, as a company that is already established in the United States, in India, in Netherlands also, which has come to Uganda to ensure that every agricultural product is given more value.
The meeting brought together investors from Agri Global and Life Science, led by Dr. Siva Mahesh and Kishan Chiran. The investors say they had chosen Uganda as their investment destination and plan to inject more than $5 million into the country through the establishment of industries. They cited Uganda's peaceful environment and available agricultural resources as some of the factors that influenced their decision to invest in the country.
Last 4 years we have done a lot of research in many countries how and where our products can grow better. The reports came out pretty well that Uganda is the best country in the world in terms of quality of the products, whatever we are growing. So hence we have chosen Uganda, and our products are not a regular food crops or anything, rather a cash crops or cash rich crops that can change the income of the farmers at a lower level. These are medicinal crops that actually goes for a pharma industry, the biotech industry and the medicinal industry.
The engagement also attracted officials from different government institutions, including the Ministry of Works and Transport, represented by Commissioner Winston Katushabe, who welcomed the investors' decision to expand their business activities in Uganda.
And I'm happy that you want to add on this type of value in terms of innovation, technology, development and transfer program. I think we need to applaud you for this. Now, expect that over 500 direct green jobs will be created across the value chain, such as development, engineering and manufacturing, energy, transport planning, value chain financing, policy, regulations and digital infrastructure. These are very key for you. What are the expected economic impact? Contribution of 0.5% of our national GDP when fully implemented. From your proposal, we expect the GDP to improve.
Colonel Nakalema says the investment is expected to contribute to Uganda's economic development through job creation and opportunities for young people.
Nafa abakyazaala abaana betuzaala namwe abato abakola ate namwe nga mugenda kuzaala emirimu eva mu industrialization kati kyetuliko ebyamakolero ebya teknologiya eyeyongera innovations kati ebyo byetuliko nga tukunganyiza wamu aba ministry.
The government says continued engagement with investors will remain central in attracting more capital into key sectors, including agriculture, manufacturing and emerging industries. Story compiled by Kim Kisha Theopista for Church of Uganda Family TV News at 8.
Now, tensions remain high in Lwesubo village, Buambo parish in Gombe division, after residents and defeated LC1 chairperson candidates challenged the outcome of yesterday's village elections. The losing side has accused election officials of presiding over a flawed exercise, petitioned police and reportedly misled residents into believing that a fresh election would be held. We take a look.
Akalulu kamaze okulangirirwa mwami Sanda Anatoli ng'akawangudde. Olunaku lwajjo twabadde wano kifo kyekimu nga tulonda era ng'alina abamuvuganya. Kwabaddeko omwami gwe bayita Lubega Cosmos yafunye 0-0 netubeera ne yazze kuba independent nga tulinako ne mukyala Nalwoga Jeni naye ng'ali independent nga tulinako ne Sande Christopher nga ajidde naye yabadde oba independent naye nga twabadde tulabanga batambula n'aba NUP ku Gonda. So akalulu ne kagwa bulungi nga mwami Sande akawangudde. Yawangudde Sande n'obululu yawangudde n'obululu by the kuba form twagisigaza ekiraga nti twalonze nze nge yabadde agent we nasigaza form ye nga Sande diala form yafunye obululu 323.
Nenga bano abafi bwe batuuse bano abopponent bwe bagenze eri bawaabye omusango abagamba okulonda tekwabaddewo.
Nze Musime Irene n'abakyala omulonde owa Lwesubo. Olunaku lwajja twalonze era nga tulonda chairman waffe Sande Anatoli. Mu butuufu abantu babadde bangi nga n'omuyisa akiraba. Naye ekyabaddewo ababadde batuvuganya bavudde ate mu layini zaabwe ne beegatta ne layini eyabadde layini ey'okubiri ne baagala bakole layini emu naye ng'era tebatusobola. Kaakati ekyavudde mu ekyo ne batwala omusango nti tubabbi. Naye ng'ekyamazima akalulu kamaddeko amazima na bwenkanya era tuvumirira abantu abakulu abo okubeera nga ate batuzza mu bintu bye twabadde twamaliriza dda.
Tunge babadde bangi ekimala betulwanagana nabo batuse ekiseera ne beegatta. Kati bagenze okwegatta nga baminti bagenda okujja obuwanguzi. In fact tusigala nga era tubawangudde. Kuba basigaza bafunye obululu 183 nze neefuna obululu 320. Bo bwe babadde bavaayo tebafunye empapula tebalinze endoza kufuna mpapula. Ngenza okeera ku makya olwaleero ku makya essaawa 2 ng'oli ankubira nti ate tugenda kuddamu akalulu. Embabuuza akalulu tuddamu kaawa. Mbadde nsooka nakubyoza nti Katemba bali awo bankangamu bukanzi. Niyinza okuwulira nga banyiikira ng'olya nga nze w'akakiiko k'ebyokulonda. Konze w'akakiiko k'ebyokulonda talina linnya yogera erinnya ly'onkutegeere. Nti nze bweto bwe bantumye n'olwekyo olina kukuŋŋaanya abantu bo bajje konze bekusituka ne ngenda ku division eGombe ne mbategeeza ne mbagamba abaayi nti batugamba okuddamu akalulu naye ze akalulu sigenda kaddamu kubanga nze nafunye foomu yange declaration yino.
Now, the senior presidential advisor on agriculture, Peace Rugawa, has commended health workers at Bukinda Health Center 3 in Ruchiga district for their dedication to serving patients despite challenges, as she donated essential hospital supplies to improve patient care. During Rugawa's visit at the facility, local leaders also called for improved hygiene standards and increased government support to address staffing shortages at the facility. We have the report.
The senior presidential advisor on agriculture, Peace Rugabwa, has commended health workers at the Bukika Health Center 3 in Buhanga Town Council, Ruchiga District, for their commitment to serving the public, urging them to remain dedicated to the profession as she donated essential hospital supplies to improve the patient care at the facility. Peace made the remarks after the overnight visit to the health center, where she found health workers on duty attending to the patients. She encouraged the medical staff to continue serving with professionalism, commitment and compassion, noting that many Ugandans depend on their dedication to access quality healthcare services. While inspecting the facility, Rugabwa observed that several hospital beds lack mattresses. She said the situation prompted her to immediately donate mattresses and other essential hospital supplies to improve the patient comfort.
bed sheets na blankets bed covers kugira ngo abarwire hati bahumure babyameje kandi bakire kandi ekisingo bukuru emifarisi nagishabe urara kumeya kubyamaho cyo kubanza oburwire nibuza kukira obgoro nibuza kugenda okuyomba namushijo mu makani kuza kurugamo.
The resident district commissioner Rukiga Zadok Kansimi called on the health workers to maintain high hygiene standards, saying cleanliness is essential for protecting patients.
Remains is take good care of what you have donated to this facility, and also to continue the hygiene that you have launched today.
The in-charge of Kinda Health Center 3 thanked Rawoa for the donation, saying the facility has been operating with an adequate number of mattresses and bedding. He noted that the support will significantly improve the comfort and welfare of the admitted patients.
We have a scan here. This facility in the government structure, I want to thank Honorable Roland who gave us this scan, but with no human personnel to work on it. We are trying to use our PHC to get to hire someone to come and work, but it only work, we only use it pregnant mothers and only once in a month because we don't have enough funds.
Trino Kwesiga, however, appealed to the government to address the shortage of specialized workers. He revealed that although the facility has ultrasound scan machine, it remains unused because there is no trained personnel to operate it.
My prayer is that if we get these services,
leaders say improving healthcare requires more than infrastructure and equipment, calling for increased staffing, better hygiene and continued community support to strengthen health services delivery across Ruchika District.
And in our international news tonight, a small group of demonstrators gathered near the White House to protest Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to Washington, where he was holding talks with President Donald Trump. Now protesters carried signs branding Netanyahu a war criminal. We take a look.
We will never be silent.
He claims that all Jews support his movement and his actions, his crimes, and he misuses our religion and our identity to justify all these criminal actions. We say no. All of this, all that Israel stands for, this genocide in Gaza, this murder in the West Bank, this whole occupation of 78 years in Palestine, all of this is ridiculous. All of this is criminal.
He is the reason for the illegal war that has started on my homeland of Iran, that is also currently
constantly being bombarded. And every time he comes to visit, our people, our countries get bombarded again. And we are here to make sure that our voices are heard, and he knows that we don't want him here. He is not welcome here. We know that he's a war criminal. We want bombs to stop falling on our people.
Well, now let us take a look at our news headlines.
Headlines brought to you by
Global Paints ku ceiling tukozesa Global Mat ate munda ne tukozesa Global Silk Vinyl
singakwetaga
wabweru tukozesa Global Weather Coat Emulsion
kusiiga gye musiiga ogwo omutindo ogusasulira sente zonna
guli wumite.
Global Paint, a reliable product.
In the headlines tonight, government attributes power outages to national grid upgrades. Energy Ministry says investment will improve electricity reliability.
The response that we have received, especially me as the leader of the sector, shows that the communication was not sufficient, and many households, many businesses, many people were caught off guard. And the population was taken largely unaware. And I want to say, on behalf of the sector and on behalf of government, to say that we are sorry about that.
Also tonight, Electoral Commission hails successful LC1 village elections despite isolated disruptions. Fresh voter registration and repeat polls announced in affected villages as Justice Byabakama warns against violence ahead of rescheduled elections.
Polling can be repeated. And we have already communicated to the said villages or areas that Saturday, 30th July, which is tomorrow, the process of registering residents will take place. And the issue of the registers will be conducted on the 31st of July. So that polling takes place on Saturday, the 1st of August 2026. Secondly, in villages where polling could not take place due to chaos, violence, and disruption, but the register is intact and have not voted today, polling will also take place on Saturday, 1st of August 2026.
And in global news, protesters rally against Netanyahu's Washington visit.
Brought to you by
Global Paints.
Global Paint, a reliable.
Well, that brings us to the end of our news tonight. Thank you for keeping it Church of Uganda Family TV. I'm Hope Nyongeza, and on the sign language is Winnie Boyinza. We wish you a good night.